Hey everyone, welcome to today's tutorial. Today we are going to be working with the Home Again collection from Carta. We are also going to be adding on the chipboard phrases and the enamel dots that coordinate. And I also am using the coordinating solids paper pack, which includes 6 sheets of matching cardstock. You get 2 sheets of each and they are a different color on each side, so there are 6 potential different colors to work with. I'm going to be choosing my cardstock a little bit later on. So here they do have a 12 by 12 sticker sheet that's included along with these 12 pattern papers that are different on each side. The paper is slightly textured, makes it really beautiful, and I really did enjoy this collection as well. We are going to be making 4 pages. 4 single page layouts, so we are going to be needing 6 pattern papers out of the possible 12, and we're going to go ahead and choose them here. So I found it really difficult to pick accent papers with this collection this time because I felt like there was sort of like a blue tone in this pack and a green tone, and I wasn't really sure. Usually I pick one color and go with that, but this time I decided to kind of incorporate both colors. Here I'm just taking the journaling cards out because I plan to use them quite a bit as embellishments later. Okay, so the cardstock colors and the cardstock names are a little bit deceiving, but so you either have green and seafoam, light blue and navy, or blue and tan. To me, the navy, what they call navy, looks black. Even in real life, it has more of a black tone to it. But I went ahead with this, which would be called blue and tan. And then the other color I chose ended up being this darker, what they call blue color. So this would be light blue and navy is what they call that paper. So this green and seafoam page or color cardstock, I did not use that. Okay, so just to clarify, I used 2 sheets of blue and tan and the 2 sheets of the light blue and navy. Okay, so my first background paper, I really wanted to use that paper that has those wreaths that say Home Sweet Home. So I put that to the side right first thing. I knew I wanted to incorporate a darker color with a floral print, and I just prefer the larger pattern there more, so I used that as a accent paper, and now I'm just eliminating ones I don't like. I also picked that that white or that off-white background with the lines on it. It almost reminds me of shiplap a little bit, so that's my second background paper. Here I also love this paper. I think it's subtle. It still has that off-white base, that tone to it, so I'm going to go ahead and use that as the third background paper. I didn't really love this page either, so now I'm stuck between these two, and I really liked this striped paper or this green paper here as a background, and then I'm using this green striped paper here as an accent. I did not like how this accent color looks with that green like plaid background paper, but there is one out of our 4 background pages that we don't use that striped green paper on, so I'm just going to make sure that this green background is not incorporated with that striped accent paper, if that makes sense. We have cutting diagrams in my tutorial videos, and I just kind of want to let you know how to read them. So there's the number in top in inches, and that's going to be the size that we're going to cut that cut piece into. And there's a number below it in a circle. So a lot of the times we're making 4 pages or 6 pages when we're using these cutting diagrams, and all these cut pieces can sort of get very disorganized. So that number inside of the circle there represents a pile that you're going to put that cut piece into. So for a 4-page tutorial, we're going to make 4 piles, and for a 6-page tutorial, we're going to make 6 piles. So the numbers are going to be either 1 through 4 or 1 through 6. So page 1 is going to have all the cut pieces that have a circle with the number 1 inside. and so on for the 4 or 6 pages. So now we're going to go ahead and take all pieces of our cardstock, and we are going to cut 1 inch in, 1 inch from the top and 1 inch from the bottom, and we're going to make a straight line on all 4 sides of each of these pieces of cardstock. What we're basically doing is cutting a 10 by 10 inch square out of the center of this piece of cardstock. The border is going to be put into our pile, and the center, the 10 by 10 inch center, is going to be put to the side, and we're going to be cutting it with another cutting diagram as soon as we're done cutting out all of these squares. Now we're going to go ahead and cut the backgrounds for our pages. So we are going to be cutting the barcode strip off along with 1/2 inch and then 1/2 inch on the other side. So we're going to be making an 11.5 inch by 11.5 inch square for all of our background papers. Okay, so I went ahead and slowed down this page here because I actually screwed up when I cut it. So piece number 3 is supposed to be 4 inches wide by 12 inches tall. I screwed up here and cut it 3 inches wide by 12 inches tall, which made piece number 1 4 by 9 inches instead of 4 by 8 inches, and it made piece number 2 8 by 9 inches, not 8 by 8 inches. So I go ahead and use piece number 1 and 3 the way that they are, and then I just trim down piece number 2 to be 8 by 8 inches later on when I'm assembling my pages. Okay, so if you remember in the cutting guide, I had miscut one of my this striped paper. I accidentally cut one of the pieces an inch too short, so which made the other pieces an inch too long. So here I'm just trimming this piece down 1 inch so that it's actually square and it fits on this 10 cardstock. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and get started with embellishing our pages. As you can see, I've already cut out my 4x6 and 3x4 journaling cards, and we're going to be using what I like to call the classic 4-page cutting guide. And this is the cutting guide that I use the most on my channel now. I find it is the fastest, the easiest, probably I would say the most beginner friendly. If you're gonna try do cutting guides on your own, this is definitely the one I would recommend, because it really is easy to choose the paper. If there is a cutting guide where you have a hard time learning how to make paper choices, this is definitely the cutting guide to choose. The other reason why I choose this cutting guide is because it has bigger areas for embellishment. So if I have if I have embellishments that are large, so in this case I did have large embellishments because I intend to use these 4x6 journaling cards. If you have larger elements like that, this cutting guide is definitely going to be a better option than the other 4-page cutting guide that I use often. The other 4-page cutting guide I use often it's better for multiple pictures on a page. It's also better for smaller embellishments and more clustering areas, whereas this one is just better for those bigger embellishments. So this journaling card here that said the best journey takes you home, it was originally a 4x6 journaling card. I didn't like that it was the same size as the journaling or the photo area. I felt like it just didn't have the right portions on the page, so I cut it down. This here, I felt like it looked too off balance on the page, so I took that whole section and I moved it down on the page. That way it looked like that journaling card that says this is us, our life, our story, our home is more in the center of the page and not at the top of the page. And I didn't have the embellishments that I would have needed to create balance on the bottom of the page to go along with this. So I went ahead and moved that whole area down. Okay, I wanted to incorporate that brown wood color a little bit more on the bottom of this page as well, to incorporate the borders on those two journaling card areas on the top there. Okay, and then the top of this black area, I felt like it needed something. I didn't like these herbs that were hanging, didn't like how the stickers were working out, or that farmhouse banner. So I also added this chipboard square to the top of that says, "Welcome, may all who enter as guests leave as friends." And then I wanted to incorporate that brown wood border along with another square element to the bottom of that 4x6 photo area to tie things together. And then I used this green, light green colored enamel dot to kind of add a little bit of something to that black area. Okay, so this page definitely ended up being a little bit plainer than some of the other ones, but sometimes that's okay too. Okay, so as you can see, my cat Chubbs definitely needs to feel involved sometimes. He's the kind of cat, seriously, if you're like looking at your phone and he wants attention, he'll like swat your phone out of your hand, and then he'll start like pushing the phone around, and then he'll just kind of wander in front of you trying to get attention. I love this vertical journaling card that says "in this house" along with all the rules there. I felt like this page would really give it an area for, it's not always easy fitting that vertical skinny of an element, but I felt like this page worked there. And then I loved that I incorporated this black and white paper and off-white paper here underneath that word "gather" to anchor some embellishments that I'm going to put above that word. That says "gather." I popped up this vase with flowers behind that chipboard that says "gather." Okay, so when I did pop up that flower behind that word "gather," I only popped up the top of it. That way the bottom of that vase could sit behind that chipboard. Okay, so then I finished off that cluster along the bottom with a chipboard that says "bless this house," and then I put that sticker wreath behind it. okay, along with the chipboard black house shape and the word happy underneath it. It just creates some texture and height differences in that cluster. My inspiration for these pages is going to be just candid pictures of family, just like random visiting. It's not like a specific holiday or get together or anything like that. It's just going to be these random moments, like sitting at a table visiting with people, having morning coffee or having afternoon coffee at my mother-in-law's house. Sometimes there's some really beautiful moments captured and things like that. So that's kind of the inspiration behind what I wanted to do with this collection. Okay, so to work on the bottom side of this page here, I'm adding in this, I cut down this quote that says, "Life does not have to be perfect to be wonderful." I love that quote. I have to tell myself that all the time. And then I wanted to incorporate these wreaths and a bigger flower element just at the top of that 4x6 journaling card up there that says "There's no place like home." I feel like, these embellishments, the way that they're working out, they just sort of work from the center of the photo area and work their way out. Love this little bench as well. I really wanted to find a place on this page to incorporate it, and I actually didn't know where I wanted it, so I popped it up. I put 2 foam squares on the back. That way it wasn't sticky anymore, and I could move it around on my page and see what I wanted to do with it. Okay, so I also figured that this page needed something to tie all of these pieces together. So I tried to find some smaller embellishment pieces that I had multiples of that I could sort of use to create triangles to bring everything together. And I felt like the bottom of this black piece needed a little bit of something. So I popped up this flower, and then I had a bunch of these butterflies. So I tried to make triangles with them. So this larger butterfly, I put it on top of that wreath along with the 2 smaller ones that formed a triangle. And then I did the same thing again up at the top of this page just to kind of help finish it off and tie everything together. I hope you liked this week's tutorial. We will see you next Friday with another video. Thank you so much for watching.